Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co., and this is Should You Back DC Superheroes United. With less than 2 days left to go on the campaign, we are down to the wire. We have all the information that we need. I think all the information. Of course, the remaining stretch goals that will still show up, we are missing that, but we have most of the information, including the all-in pledge that you can go ahead and spend way too much money on. And when I say spend way too much money on, I mean way too much money. The all-in pledge is already going to cost a little pretty penny, a little bit under, I think it's $385 if I'm not mistaken, but if you want to go all in with all the extras, goodies, accessories, and all that, it'll run you a whopping total of $605 with the estimated $41 US shipping. That is a shipping estimate. We'll come to all of that and more, but that's $600 to go all in on this game, and that is just for one DC Superheroes United system. The Marvel United system has had a lot of iterations. This is its 4th iteration so far. I am sure there'll be more to come, but for right now, let's go ahead and dive through all of the campaign over here, although of course, a obligatory reminder that I do work for GameFound, take that into account, but let's go ahead and dive into DC Superheroes United and all the things that are on this campaign. Now, we're not going to go through every single little detail. We're going to go through a lot, but hopefully you already know the basics over here. And of course, links and timestamps to everything down below. But the basics to start you off, this is the newest version of the United system. It's had Marvel United, it had X-Men United, and then it had Marvel United Multiverse. Each system continued to add and build onto that. I do recommend watching my DC Superheroes United review if you want the general thoughts on the newest version of the game, of the system, and then notes and changes, all the various changes and things along the way. But with that, we are going to dive briefly into the stretch goals. We're going to dive into each and every one of the optional buys, as well as the all-in, the all-in pledge, and then talk about all of those. And let's go ahead and start off with the stretch goals. We're going to zoom it over here so you can go ahead and see them all on your screen. Let me just get them all lined up. Let's drop out a drop. There we go. So, just going to go through these over here very quickly. I'm not going to be doing a deep dive into every one of these. I'm just going to kind of mention the names. If I'm personally excited about them, I'll say that. I will say it's DC, so half of these characters I don't even know, because I know the core DC stuff, of course, but all the other things that you encounter here and there, I mean, I don't know. I'm a superhero fan, but not like a superhero fan. We have Gleek, Jaina, Zan, Wildcat. We have Black Mask as a villain over here, as a villain. We have Complications Challenge over here, so a new challenge for the game. We have Blue Beetle, which I still haven't watched that movie. I need to do so. We have Booster Gold. We have Black Manta. We have Mera, Red Tornado, and Parasite. We have new superhero and supervillain cards. It's going to be the superhero and supervillain mode. We have Gorilla Grodd, we have Despero, we have Black Lightning, Martian Manhunter, Steppenwolf, oh my gosh, Steppenwolf, we have Ra's al Ghul, Vixen, Jonah Hex, and Ocean Master, otherwise not to be confused with Aquaman. We have Young Justice Team deck, we have Hawkgirl, we have Etrigan the Demon, Captain Cold, Condiment King, Katana, Mongol, Aquaman Family Team deck. In general, we'll talk more about the team deck soon and what those are. We have The Question, Talia al Ghul, Swamp Thing, Justice League International Team deck, again we'll come back to those, and Ally Mode, Cyborg Superman, Arm Fall Off Boy, which is amazing. No idea who that is, but sounds amazing. I love the miniature aspect of him. We have Deadshot, Zatanna, Ares. We have Reverse Flash, Stargirl, Stripe, Batcave, and Batgear. We have Bizarro, Captain Boomerang, Plastic Man, Solomon Grundy, Justice League Dark Team deck, Constantine, Mr. whatever his name is, as well as Patrol Knight, and that's what we have so far on these. There's going to be more coming because we are down to the last 2 days, which means by the time you're watching this video, we probably already have another one. I'm guessing this campaign hits at least 3 million, which means we probably have another few stretch goals to go. I guess somewhere in the range of 15 more stretch goals. It depends. The last 24 hours are always tough because they're going to pace things out based on the stretch goals and how they're doing, but they are going to make sure you get a nice batch of goodies in the last 2 days. CMON tends to like having that last surge, and they continuously just escalate and escalate and escalate, pushing people over the edge who are previously on the fence. And so that's just kind of a quick recap of the stretch goals. Now keep in mind, for the core pledges over here, let's zoom out again over here. For the core pledges, talk about those before we dive into all the optional buys. We have over here the rewards. We have $65 for the Super Friends pledge, and we have Titans for the that gives you the expansion for the Teen Titans expansion mixed in. Those are gonna be the core pledges you have. We also have the all-in for $385 for the Conqueror. We'll talk more about what that is, as well as the extras that includes. But the Super Friends over here, it's gonna run you $65. It's gonna give you all those extras you just saw. So for $65, you're getting every single one of those stretch goals you just saw. And for Titans, same idea over here. And shipping wise, the shipping has been lowered from a typical CMON campaign, although obviously these are estimates, so we'll see how how things go. I do think that with the various backlash CMON has received in the past, my expectations are that shipping will be somewhere in these ranges. That's my hope, or my hope and guess, is that shipping will be in some of these ranges. I just don't think CMON wants the backlash otherwise. But we have $20 for the Core Pledge, $22 for Titans, and $41 for the Conqueror. So basically for $100, you're going to get the, for the 65 plus $41, well, that's, no, the Conqueror's 40, never mind, the Conqueror will come back to it otherwise. But that means your Core Pledge is going to run you 65 plus 20, or alternatively you have 120, and then you have the Conqueror Pledge, which is 385 plus that 41, and that's before we get to all the accessories and whatnot. Speaking of which, if we go to the add-on section over here, this is where we're going to be going through all these various add-ons, but we're going to start with the accessory add-ons. These are all quality of life components that do not in any way need to be added to your game. Then again, everything here is technically a quality of life component when you think about it, just some of them have gameplay elements attached to it, but we're going to dive through all of these, starting off with the accessories, starting off specifically with the metal two-face coin. This is one that you may already have. If you follow the campaign before launch, you'll already have this. Otherwise, you can go ahead and back this for $5, or you can get extras for $5 for this metal two-face coin. It's just a nice component. It's not necessary in any way, shape, or form. Then again, most of that's going to be true for the next batch of things we go through. We have the painting compendium for $30. If you are going to paint your miniatures, this is coming to you from Big Child Creators. It's going to give you an actual painting guide for all these at various levels, so it accommodates the level of the painter, as well as like links to QR codes and whatnot, so you can go ahead and get the most updated information. So it's going to be both the resource itself, as well as constantly more information and videos and things like that from Big Child Creative. For $39, you get the Playmat. This is going to be a double-sided Playmat giving you two modes. The general mode you're used to seeing, where you have the full circle on the table, as well as the mode over here where it's all oriented the same direction, which is always the way I play. So I'm happy they have both those modes. We have Batman colors and then Superman colors for those two sides over here. We have over here, we have the plastic tokens. Now this is not going to be, there's going to be two plastic tokens kits. We have $30 over here for the core plastic tokens, and then we have another $15 for the plastic extra tokens of the various things you're going to be unlocking from various, well, everything else. Then we have over here, we have the cardboard locations. For $30, you get upgraded cardboard locations. If you get the basic stuff, you're going to get the cheaper little flimsy kind of a thicker card stock for the locations. It is perfectly functional. It is totally functional. You don't need the extras, but if you do want that premium thickness to your all the various 53 locations plus 6 support tokens and all that, then this will give you the more premium locations. Similarly, we have for another $30, you have the cardboard villain dashboards. It's going to make all the various things for the villain dashboards, as well as the little whatever this line is called, and these cards over here, so it all matches nicely. Again, you're getting a premium component upgrade. All of these things are nice. All of these are completely non-essential. If you watch the last few gameplays that have been on the channel, I just used the regular flimsy stuff because I couldn't be bothered to pull out the cardboard upgrades that I have for these things, because sometimes you want to, sometimes you don't. The flimsy stuff is totally fine. The cardboard stuff is nice, but again, an all in on this campaign is going to run you $600, so sometimes nice is nice, but not necessarily essential. We have the team decks over here. So let's talk about the team decks. You've already seen some of these unlocked. A team deck is effectively a grouping. I believe this was introduced for the first time in X-Men United, if I'm not mistaken. I think, I could be wrong. But the team decks over here, what they do is they give you a team, a structure. So for example, if we look at the Justice League team, these are the various characters who can be in the Justice League team. And so when you have that team up, when you have characters from the same team in the game, you can use the team deck. You do have to play it on hard mode because it wants to balance the game, but effectively these cards, they give you an extra thing that you can do. They have a card from the team deck that's always in play, and you can play a card from your hand or from the team deck. It also comes with the trade-off that there's always going to be a card in the team deck that has a bad effect until you take the card, and when you take the card, it's not good for your team. So you're literally taking one for the team in this team mode aspect. So you're both playing on hard mode, and the decks inherently come with a little bad thing that's not great for you. So that's going to be the concept of these team decks over here, but past that, they add a thematic element to playing with a structured team. So we have Justice League America. Let's go through the teams over here. We have the Justice League for America, the Batman Inc., Gotham Knights, Outsiders, Teen Titans, Birds of Prey, Super Friends, Superman Family, and Heroes United. But we're also going to go back to our stretch goals over here, to our various stretch goals, because I want to show you the team decks now that you know that, in case you didn't already. For the team decks over here that we have currently, we have no, not this one, not this one. We have the Young Justice team deck is going to be added as a stretch goal. We have the Aquaman Family team deck, the Justice League International team deck, and I think those are the team decks we have right now. Justice League Dark team deck. So we have like 4 other team decks being added in addition to the ones we just covered over here. Then we have the next accessory, and this is going to be, this by the way, is we've already moved, I should have said this, we've moved from the accessories into the gameplay with the team decks over here. Then for another $15, you have the campaign decks. This is easily one of my favorite add-ons, but the problem with both this and the team deck is you kind of do need a bunch of the other add-ons to fully benefit from these. So part of me wants to be like, hey, take this budget add-on that's really great and will add a lot to your gameplay, but you also need other stuff to make it happen to a large degree. But the campaign decks, what they're going to do is they give you 8 campaign decks right now. They've talked about 6 of them. They have not talked about the other 2. So we have 6 that are yet to be revealed. It looks like we have the Reign of Superman, Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, A Death in the Family, The Long Halloween, Throne of Atlantis, Superheroes United, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have yet to be revealed, and then a retail exclusive core box-based campaign, which I guess means it might need the retail version of the game. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, what I have with these campaigns, the campaigns are going to give you on a mission arc of usually 4 to 5 missions, where you have a structure of missions that will take components from various boxes, mix them together to give you a storyline that you're going through. So you start with game 1, looking for the king. The villain you're facing off against is Black Manta. You have to have Mera, and then you could choose from the other characters. Aquaman cannot be used as a hero in the game. So effectively, Aquaman's missing. You're searching for Aquaman, I assume, because of the name, and you can't use Aquaman. So you have that aspect. You have special rules around it, and it gives you a sequence of linked missions. This is something you could find if you look at the original Marvel United had a what was it called again? Thanos. They had the Thanos Infinity Stones. They had a little search for the Infinity Stones in the original Marvel United. That was a sequence of 4 linked missions, although they're a little procedural as far as how it did it. But that concept has been carried over into X-Men United, and now it's being carried over into here as well, where you have these team decks. And the team decks are the campaign decks. The campaign decks that I believe were introduced in the Marvel United multiverse. But effectively, it gives you a bunch of more ways to go through a sequence of linked missions. And considering a game of Marvel United is like 20 to 35 minutes, somewhere in that range, it's a very accessible campaign, coming in at 1.5 to 2 hours, or 1.5 to 2.5 hours for a typical campaign, making it very accessible. You can finish an entire campaign in one night. I do highly recommend these if you are anyways getting a bunch of other stuff and you can benefit from these decks. I highly recommend them. They'll give you a lot of replayability to the experience with this little dash of campaigns being added, and $15, that's $2 per campaign. Definitely recommend these, but again, you kind of need everything else. From there, we're going to have the Sidekicks. Sidekicks takes advantage of the new concept of Sidekicks that I believe were introduced in one of the Metropolis add-ons that we'll be getting to soon enough. But Sidekicks give you characters that will go on the board and interact with the game in different ways. They're not heroes, they're not villains, they are miniatures that go on the board and have a different way that they operate. This Sidekick expansion, on the other hand, what it does is it lets you actually mix those Sidekicks into your actual game. So you can have the Sidekicks, and first of all, it introduces 4 new Sidekicks. Ace the Bat Hound, Detective Chimp, Deckstar, and Chip over here are going to be introduced as 4 new Sidekicks from this expansion, but you're also getting a bunch of Sidekick cards for the other Sidekicks, so you can use those Sidekicks as part of your deck. You basically mix those Sidekicks cards into your hero deck, so you have Batman and Commissioner Gordon working together, and then suddenly you pull a Commissioner Gordon card and you get to use the sidekick that's actually on the board. So it takes the sidekick concept and introduces it into a little companion for your deck. That's going to be our Sidekicks deck over here for $20 there. We have the Green Lantern Corps for $30. The Green Lantern Corps is going to be giving you a bunch of new characters over here. No major changes over here. This is primarily new content for the game. So if you're looking for the stuff to cut, basically, if you're trying to be picky about what you get, this is one of the ones you can probably, not take because it's not adding new gameplay elements. It's basically adding, the 6 new characters over here, or 5 new characters over here, plus it's adding the other components, 7 team cards and 4 equipment cards. So again, it's giving you a team deck to work with, but it's also giving you equipment cards, which are going to activate the various symbols on the bottom of the cards. You're going to use the green symbols and reactivate them using your equipment. So you get new benefits from those equipment over here. Then we have over here, we have the Metropolis expansion for $30, $35. For $35, you have Metropolis expansion. This will be giving you all the various heroes and villains listed here. So we have Steel, Supergirl, Crypto. We have Jimmy Olsen as a support character. We have Doomsday over here and Brainiac as the villains. And then we have the Kryptonite Shard tokens, which will give you your own little Kryptonite Shard challenge in the game. And it introduces the concept of these support characters in the game. But past that, you're going to see the Kryptonite Shards. Let's go ahead and scroll back down to those. Kryptonite Shards is going to give you a little challenge there, if I recall over here. Locations, Kryptonite Shards. This is going to give you a unique challenge in the game against the various Kryptonite heroes, which gives you, there's a bunch of these challenges. You can see some of them in the stretch goals already, and that'll give you that over there. And that's basically our Metropolis thing over here. Then we have Gotham City. For $35, you have another one that's going to be giving you, again, new characters, new crowdfunding exclusive characters as well. But Gotham City is introducing, we have Alfred as a support character, we have Batgirl and Nightwing, we have Red Hood and Catwoman as dual mode characters that can be played both as good or bad, which basically gives you double the content, by the way. Whenever you see a dual mode character, you're effectively getting a hero and a villain, and the villains in particular change up the gameplay a lot, so that's giving you a lot of gameplay content. And one of the expansions we're going to talk about will give you basically exclusively dual mode characters. We have a villain over here of Bane as the villain. We have other components, the Bat Signal locations, challenge, and the Bat Signal cards. The Bat Signal, we have Batwoman and Commissioner Gordon as the crowdfunding exclusive if you get this on the campaign. Now, as far as the Bat Signal cat challenge, what that's going to introduce is going to introduce a Bat Signal that moves around the board, giving you different challenges you have to accomplish. So in addition to the regular game game you're playing through, you're also trying to be mindful of the challenges that the bat signal is constantly throwing your way. Let's go scroll down over here. It covers this over here, how it works, so you have additional things you're trying to do along the way, just giving you one more thing to be mindful of in the game. Then from there, we're also going to have the Suicide Squad. For $35, it gives you Suicide Squad, and it's going to give you a bunch of dual mode characters, which again means you're getting these as villains and as threats. So that's again double the gameplay content over here. We have Harley Quinn, King Shark, Bloodsport, Rick Flag, Peacemaker, and Polka Dot Man as 6 additional characters being added to your game, both as good characters and as bad characters. We also have the Suicide Squad mode, which gives you a way to fight against all 6 of these simultaneously. If you've played against the Sinister Six in one of the previous games, it's going to be that kind of concept. You have a different gameplay mode, specifically catered around taking down these 6 characters, giving you a unique challenge and a unique way to play the game. But it's not only that, it also gives you these characters as the villain tag team. Well, you have the villain tag team over here where you can go head to head, but you also have the dual mode. Nope, not that. Let's scroll down over here. Bloodsport, no, the villain tag team. Sorry, I think the villain tag team was, here we go. I skipped over the villain tag team. But the villain tag team is basically the way these characters operate in the game is they are weaker than your traditional villains. So what you do is you have 2 villains tagging up together. So you can see over here the dashboard is composed over here of these 2 characters working together in harmony. These are weaker villains, so they need each other. But again, that gives you another degree of variety. You're not just facing off against King Shark, you're facing off against King Shark and Harley Quinn, or any combination of those characters, giving you another way to play through the game. I think there was one other thing over here, if I'm not mistaken. It might not have been. Let me see if I can scroll down and find anything else. I vaguely recall there was one other thing. Oh, the bombs. That's what it was. We have the nanobombs challenge over here. The nanobombs challenge gives you, again, another challenge over here where you basically have to do certain things because, what's her name? Amanda Waller over here has a little bombs in your head, and you have to operate based on her control. So again, another little challenge thematically based around the Suicide Squad aspect, the Suicide Squad universe. From there, we have the next expansion is going to be the War of Light. This is the most recent expansion being introduced. This is the one that was introduced right before the All-In. War of Light is going to give you a bunch more of, well, Green Lantern-based stuff over here. So we have War of Light. We're going to have our Kyle Rayner, Saint Walker, and Hal Jordan. We have our dual mode characters of Star, Sapphire, and Indigo, and again, that's twice the content. And then we have the villains over here, Sinestro, Larfleeze, Astrosis, and Black Hand, and it's going to give you the new Guardians team mode deck, as well as new equipment cards. This is going to give you, well, new equipment cards over here. Let me scroll down over here. This is going to give you another challenge over here, another benefit of the game if we continue to scroll past through the myriad of various miniatures to go through. But we get down to the bottom, and we get... There's no page down over here the way these are structured. We have the team deck of the new Guardians, and then we have the Lantern Ring Quest. This Ring Quest over here is as players accomplish certain goals, as they accomplish the objectives, you're going to get different ones of these goals. So the Blue Lantern Ring, or the Indigo Lantern Ring, or the Sapphire Lantern Ring, or if you do 2 at once, you're going to get the White Lantern Ring if you completed 2 missions in the same turn. So that gives you another little quest or goal to go through and give you something else to help defeat the villains. So you want to mix up these good things and these challenges to kind of cater the gameplay around your group. Then we have the Justice League for $40 over here. For $40 is the second last add-on. Again, there's a lot of content over here. The Justice League for $40 is giving you, well, fittingly enough, the Justice League. We have Black Canary, Shazam, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, Atom Smasher in a much larger miniature over here, and we have the Atom as well, and we have the dual mode character of Black Adam, followed by the player versus player mode. This is going to give you a different way to play through the game, where you're facing off against the heroes, trying to accomplish your own objective, score points, and bam the other heroes and take them out in order to score points in this team head-to-head mode in the game. That's going to be the Justice League mode over here, Justice League expansion. And then lastly, we have the Arkham Asylum for $50. The most expensive expansion we have right now, Arkham Asylum. This is giving you, well, Arkham Asylum, an entirely new way to play through the game. You're going to have Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Riddler, Scarecrow, and the Penguin in this game. And we have the heroes of Batgirl, Batman, Spoiler, and Robin over here. But we also have an entirely, oh wait, before you get that, we have the Man-Bat and Mr. Freeze as your additional crafting exclusive content. But it gives you an entirely different way to play the game in Breakout mode, where you're playing as the villains trying to break out. So it completely flips the game on its head. The hero is trying to keep you in prison and operating with his own master plan deck, and you as the villains are trying to break out. To locations are going to be flipped to the other side, and it's a totally different way of playing through the game, including the ability to actually deal damage to the hero from the very get-go. From the very beginning, you're going to be trying to take out the hero, trying to KO him as much as possible, take down the villains, and recruit thugs and recruit prison guards and whatnot to your side with the henchmen and the thugs over here in the game. So core game concepts are remaining the same, but it's drastically different in so many other elements of it. And those are going to be the various expansions you have, which brings us to the all-in pledge, which is the Conqueror Pledge. For $385, you get all the gameplay content at a $30 discount. That $30 discount is discounted from what it would cost if you're buying all these things individually. So you are saving $30, which means if you basically were looking at most of the expansions, but not this one or that one, this kind of pushes you over that edge, unless you were looking at select. If you're looking at, the core games plus 1 or 2 expansions is one thing, but if you're looking at a lot or most of them, this kind of incentivizes you to basically just get all of it because of that $30 discount. But not only that, you're not just getting the $30 discount. This is the tricky part. This is where, on the one hand, people who want this pledge are going to be very happy about the things they're getting. On the other hand, people who don't want this pledge are going to be very unhappy that they're being forced to get this pledge in order to get those things. That is it's a concept. I remember doing the Witcher campaign. If you remember the Witcher campaign and the way that All-In had special content attached to it, that is going to be one of the things that's be happening over here. And specifically and problematically, we have Starro and the Batmobile. So if you want the Batmobile with its equipment card and a special setup token over there, if you want Starro as a giant villain on the board, if you want that content, that's not a pick and choose select where you can go ahead and get this and get that and get this. You have to get the Conqueror All-In pledge for $385, and you will get Starro and the Batmobile along with it. Now the good news we're going to get to in a second when we talk about the should you back it, but yes, I do understand completely if that's frustrating whenever you feel railroaded into a particular choice, because already the rest of it is FOMO left, right, and center, but at least you can pick and choose the FOMO you care about, versus once you have this $30 discount, which that's just a discount, that's just, you can't really complain about that, but once they have exclusive content locked behind the All-In, that's definitely going to be a frustrating experience to those who weren't planning on getting this. To those who were planning on getting this, I guarantee you, everyone in that camp is like, well, not everyone, but most people in that camp are going to be like, yes, even more stuff, even more of a reason to convince myself to go all in, because I'm not just saving $30, which is nice, but it's $30 and $415, so who cares? Not who cares, but it's a little bit. Versus when you factor that in, you're also getting Starro and the Batmobile, which is a nice extra for those who wanted it, and a frustrating choice for those who weren't going to get it. Which brings us, though, to the should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value, and all of that. And the very short version is yes. On almost anything you do here, yes, it'll hold its value. You can check right now if you go on eBay. This has always been true for all the Marvel United campaigns. I would say in general, CMON, in most of their campaigns, do a good job holding their value. How much any one campaign holds its value does change game to game, but the Marvel United brand has been doing well. Right now, if you go on eBay, if you check out the Marvel United Multiverse All-Ins, you can see people who have successfully sold their All-Ins for $500, $600 for an All-In for the game, which is more than what they paid for that game, significantly more than what they paid for it. So people who backed the All-In the first time around are selling that for plenty. People who back just the original pledges, and this is true of X-Men United, it's true of the original United, it's true of Marvel United Multiverse, but if you back the original core pledges, the extra boxes alone tend to go for around $120 to $175 on the aftermarket. So somebody who just bought, if you literally just wanted to get your hands on right over here, go to the gameplay, no, not gameplay, pledges. If you go to pledges over here, and you say, I'm going to spend $65 plus $20 to get the Super Friends, you'll effectively be paying around $80 for it, and then you can keep that core box and turn around and sell the expansions for like $180 or not, 180 might be pushing it, let's say $130, $140, and you can go ahead and get back twice what you paid for it and end up with a free core box. So in general, this will hold its value if the secondhand market is anything to go by. So far, this is continuing to do just fine, and the Marvel United line, or the DC United line in this case, is continuing to do just fine as far as holding its value. Which brings us back to the Conqueror Pledge, because again, it's frustrating, but if you want that Conqueror Pledge, you can literally turn around and sell Starro for probably a chunk of change. I don't know how much it would go for, but if I have to venture between Starro and the Batmobile, I would easily guess those are $100 to $125, maybe $100 to $150 alone, just for those two, for people who want those after the fact, because the only people who can get those are going to be people who back the Conqueror Pledge, or people who buy from someone who backed the Conqueror Pledge. So as much as that $385 price tag is expensive and is frustrating, and if you feel railroaded into it, you can also look at it as an opportunity to basically turn around and sell those particular items down the road for a significant upcharge on them, and then pay for most of your Conqueror Pledge if you don't care about that stuff. At the end of the day, these pledges will hold their value, which means usually, I'll say the same thing I always do, if you're trying to sit here to back these games for the sake of making money, that's one thing, and you might be able to actually do so on this particular campaign. But at the end of the day, the reason I focus on holding its value is so that you can go ahead and decide if you want this, and if it's not a game for you, is this the right time to get it? Should you have waited for retail? Was it a mistake? If you change your mind later, will you lose a ton of money? If you find it's not a game system that you enjoy, will you lose a ton of money? At the end of the day, for this, these are a safe back. One of the videos that popularized my channel was my original conversation as to why I was backing the original Marvel United. I was uncertain if it was a game system that was for me, and for me, one of the things that made me more confident is I knew that if I didn't like it, I could turn around and sell it. Fast forward a few years, and unfortunately I've spent way too much money on Marvel United, and I do like it, which means I am still spending the money, but I'm just getting a game that I enjoy out of it. But in case you're on the fence in any way, shape, or form, in case you're wondering if now or later is the right time to get it, these will almost all hold their value in most configurations that you can find here. The Marvel United system still does very well, and that's going to continuously extend to DC United as well, which is going to cross that $3 million mark. And again, if you compare it to the original you know, Deceased versus, I think if you look at Marvel Zombies versus Deceased, Marvel Zombies did like 3 times the amount that Deceased does. And DC Superheroes United, while not as strong a brand as Marvel, is still gonna cross that 3 million mark and do tremendously well. And so overall, as far as should you back it, you don't need all of it. You definitely don't need all of it, but you probably can get away with most of whatever you want, and it will hold its value. As far as if you're looking for what's the budget way to go, frankly, the budget way to go is going to be that $65 pledge, and that's it. If we focus over here and we look at the pledges, gameplay, Conqueror rewards, over here at the Titans, you're paying an extra $35 for that add-on, which is fine if you want, but you can do that with any of the add-ons. Literally, that Super Friends pledge over here for $65, and then $21 of shipping, whatever it is, for $85-ish for everything. That is going to be the biggest bang for your buck easily, as far as the sheer amount of content you will get for that $85 and being able to experience and explore this universe without spending $605 for an all-in. So there's plenty of ways to spend a reasonable amount of money and get a good gaming system out of this, and if you're someone who's not obsessed with the Marvel United line, that might be, or DC, or if you're not obsessed with DC, that might be a good way to start off. You don't have to get everything. Everything will cost you an arm and a leg. If you can afford to treat yourself and you want to spend $600 on all this, by all means do so. But also understand that that's the price of a gaming system and a half. You can buy like a PS5 plus some games for that price point. It's a little bit insane. And so do it if you want to, but do so responsibly. If your main priority focus is just getting a good game out of this, you can already do so for $85 without going completely crazy on everything. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope this was helpful in some way, and as always, I hope you have a good one.